Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
Oh, no.
Oh, no!
No,
Seems excessive.
I don't think that I have heard.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show, whoa, whoa.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
This episode of the Truck Show podcast, Have You Heard?, is proudly presented by Nissan. With the Frontier, Titan, and Titan XD, Nissan has a truck for every need, along with the legendary Nissan durability. Test drive your next truck at a local Nissan dealer today, or point your browser to nissanusa.com, where you can use the build and price tool to configure a Nissan truck that fits your lifestyle.
And when you're thinking about adding power or improving fuel economy, Banks has over 65 years of experience. Whether it's cold air intakes or exhaust systems, tuning, throttle control, charge air cooling, lubrication components, and much more, no one offers smarter, safer, 50-state emissions-compliant performance parts than Gale Banks. You'll find the best engineered parts for your truck at bankspower.com.
And when you're looking for quality, full synthetic lubrication for your truck, AMSOIL has you covered with motor oil, lubricants and protectants, grease, additives, and more. AMSOIL synthetic lubricants deliver wear protection, engine cleanliness, and fuel efficiency that conventional oils simply can't match. Find out how AMSOIL synthetic lubricants can save you money and time by helping your vehicles run better and last longer than with conventional oils at AMSOIL.com. When it comes to lubrication, AMSOIL, the first in synthetics.
EGR now celebrating their 50th anniversary as a leading manufacturer of truck and SUV accessory products with headquarters right here in the good old US of A. As an Australian-owned, family-run business with humble beginnings, EGR is now a global leader in the automotive accessory industry. If you're looking for window visors, fender flares, tonneau covers, lights, hood guards, and more, you'll find them all at EGRUSA.com.
Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
How about no?
First on this week's new truck news is the first drive from our friends over at TFL Truck of the Chinese 2025 BYD Shark pickup. We've talked about it on the news before, but didn't know anybody who's driven it, and I guess our guys headed out to, was it Texas, to drive this truck, which is not coming to the U.S.
Now, is this the one where they had it go swimming?
In the fish tank,
yeah,
among other things. Yeah, you know, they go to their website, TFL Truck, you'll see it, watch their video, but a quick overview without giving it away. They basically said, hey, it's a good effort, but it's not perfect. And it's basically the size of a midsize truck. It's all battery.
Is it being marketed as a submarine?
Not currently, and it's not being marketed at all here. All-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and it has a little range-extending gas generator, a little 1.5-liter Turbo 4 under the hood. So I like that. I like this idea of these range-extending EVs where you can still fill up with gas but then have the EV experience. I think that's kind of cool. Ram is the first to market that way. It's the way trains are, and so
essentially, so explain it for those that don't understand.
So the difference is a hybrid. The electric motor and the gas are combined together, and they touch the drivetrain, and either one or both can be merged together, taken apart to run the vehicle on its own. In a range-extending EV, the gas engine is just a generator, and it doesn't touch the drivetrain at all. It basically is charging the batteries as you drive. So the difference is a full EV, you got to plug in, you run it out, you plug it in, you run it out. A hybrid, you run out the EV. After you're done, you just go to gas motor, no big deal. And you go to the gas station to fill up. You can charge while driving, or you can top it off with a plug. A range-extending EV is you fill up like at a normal gas station. You don't have to plug it in because the onboard generator is going to charge the batteries as you're driving.
Right.
And so it's just different ways of applying the technology.
It's similar to the guys that put a Honda EU2000 generator on the tow hitch of their Tesla.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
You've seen that, right?
Yeah. BYD tells the guys over at TFL go around 60 miles in all electric mode, fully charged, full tank of gas is about 520 miles. Level 2, level 3, or even a level 1 charger. They said 0 to 60 was around 5.5 seconds, and it's got a gross vehicle weight of 7,700 pounds. So 5,500 towing. So it's right kind of in the middle, sniffing around some of our mid-sized trucks. They talked about the suspension and brakes needing work, that it wasn't really well tuned. This one is four-wheel independent suspension, but this is like what we heard from our friend Simon. Some of the Chinese vehicles, suspension seems to be an area that they definitely need improvement. I would say that living in America, we have pretty amazing vehicles as far as suspension tuning and things like that go, because I think our massive roads and different things people do sort of demand it. It's hard to find a vehicle that just sucks these days.
What were they trying to accomplish other than creating the world's largest electric eel by having it swim around in that like whale tank? I'd never seen
what
anyone.
Were they proving? Just how the batteries are sealed, the doors
that's it,
are
right?
sealed, and
Yeah.
that you can do truck stuff.
I mean, it was all the way up to the mirrors.
So I said Texas, I meant Mexico. They had a friend who purchased this truck there for $47,000, and I guess they drove it down there. So anyway, kind of a cool review, but check our buddies out over at TFL Truck, because that's an interesting video. Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
No.
So October 24th, I don't know if we mentioned it before, but count down the days, because I'm going to go see the reveal of the new Scout brand. So they have a new...
Wait. Counting down.
Just going to let it roll?
Yeah, we just counted down.
Okay. So anyway, I'm heading out to go see this reveal event. And,
Where?
Out in, I believe it's in Tennessee. They've got a new factory. They'll be building vehicles in South Carolina. Scout's owned by Volkswagen. But Scout is, again, we mentioned it before, they're doing a lot of really crazy good stuff, like secondary controls that are operated with switches and not just touchscreen everywhere. Stuff that truck and off-road buyers are going to want. So if you guys are like, what's Scout? If you remember, International Harvester had an SUV from 1960 to 1980 called the Scout that competed with the Bronco, the Land Cruisers, things like that. But after Volkswagen bought International Harvester's successor, I guess you could say, which is Navistar, back in 2020, they also took possession of the Scout trademark and decided that's how they were going to do enthusiast EVs here in the U.S. So that's how an American brand came into the hands of a German company to be built in America about off-roading. Go figure.
Should we check in with Ben Palmer at 406 Garage? Because he's our resident Scout expert. I wonder how he feels about this
Yeah, we could call Ben.
acquisition.
Been a little while.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll let you know what I think. I think it's going to be pretty cool what I'm hearing. And there's a lot of company, like Rivian people over there now, Ford people over there now. There's a lot of really smart people that left where they were at to go start Scout from the ground up.
Well, Volkswagen does know what they're doing. I mean, when you look at
one of the biggest car companies in
Audi
the world.
Group and Lamborghini and freaking
They got their hands in a
Bentley
lot of
and
cookie
everybody
jars.
else. Yeah.
Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
What you talking about, Willis?
All right, so Nissan has announced the pricing for the 2025 Nissan Frontier, which, as you would expect, more standard equipment means more standard pricing. So prices are up around $1,500 more than before, and the entry-level King Cab S 4x2 now starts at $33,560. And you can go through the trim walk. A Frontier SV King Cab 4x4 is now $39,200 versus $37,920 from before. SV grades and higher get the larger 2.3 infotainment screen, which adds wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay compatibility. So going up the line, if you go all the way up to like what we like, Frontier Pro 4X Crew Cab was $41,550. Still a bargain when you look at the rest of the market, $43,280. If you go up to the SL Crew Cab 4x4, SL is full tilt. It's all the Pro 4X stuff. You get the sunroof and leather and all that, but it's in a vehicle that's made more for around town, less off-roady.
Okay.
That comes in at $46,620. So that's about where the Frontier line stops at.
So these increases, do they include destination?
The prices I quoted include destination charge.
Oh,
yeah. So
that's reasonable.
fully loaded midsize truck for $45,000. Not a bad deal.
Yep.
Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
I mean, no.
So Chevy is introducing, and they've been teasing the 2025 Tahoes because it gets a refresh. And they've got a new trim that I haven't heard of before. Maybe I'm wrong, but the Premier. Have you seen a Tahoe Premier before?
No, I've not heard
So
of
that is basically going to slot in right below the High Country. So it's supposedly some fancy trim above LT.
So on the Chevy line, High Country is the highest.
is the highest,
correct?
Yeah. So this will be
on the GMC side. That's going to be your
Denali.
Denali. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it's but Premier. I always laugh because I think if it's like, the Communist Party and like maybe it needs little flags that pop out of the front fenders or something like that.
No, I don't
to
hear
take
that.
some like global leader around.
Premier, I just, I'm not a fan of that name.
I still, it doesn't sound American to me.
No.
Oh, look at our new
To me,
Premier.
Premier is it's what you call something when you're out of names.
Well,
Premier.
it gets some of its own exterior details, LED headlamps with running lamps and animated lighting in the front fascia. It gets the LED tail lamps with animation as well, which means they move. The lighting moves. And then you can get chrome door handles and side view mirrors with chrome and 20-inch polished wheels. And it just, it's just.
But
more
how
stuff.
does the nose look? Because that's what they keep messing with is the nose
It
of
looks
the
good.
truck.
I mean,
Yeah?
it's not. It's just.
Let me see here.
I'm indifferent to it. It looks like a Tahoe.
Hold on a second.
It's nice.
I don't
It's not
really
ugly, it's not
notice
crazy.
much difference.
Yeah. So-
That's very similar to the current one. So
Yeah,
that's not.
If you like the
blowing
current
us
one,
away.
you're
Yeah.
not going to be upset with the new one.
Okay.
How about that? Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
What? No.
No, I have not heard.
I know this is sort of outside of our wheelhouse, but Nissan has said they're now working on a new Silvia EV sports car. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a while back,
Wasn't the Sylvia something else?
Silvia was the 240SX.
There you
rear-wheel
go.
drive. Nissan kind of has their sports cars were like the Z, the GTR, and the Silvia. In Australia's Drive magazine, Nissan Vice President of Global Product Strategy, Ivan Espinosa, said, we've been doing some very early upstream exercises of what that architecture could look like. So that basically means it's like an initial planning phase. He says it's not a done deal, but we'd love to be able to do it. And Nissan did these, I guess, concepts a while back. And I don't know if you guys remember it, but they were freaking awesome. And they looked like the little Datsuns, like a modernized version of the Datsuns.
I remember the graphics.
I would buy that. And if that's what the Silvia is going to be like, that's cool as hell.
The retro look of this particular car reminds me of the forthcoming Rivian. I realize they're
R3X. Well,
Yeah.
this is more of a coupe versus a 2-box 4-door hatchback like the rally car. But this is like that modern retro rally. But this is an older concept, so I don't know if they're just using it for illustration or if the design language starts here. But if Nissan came out with some of the vehicles that they've teased, man, in the car market, there's nothing. I mean, you and I just got back from Minneapolis, is where we landed.
land of the most boring cars on the planet.
We had President's Circle, which means you can choose from President's Circle Gold or the 5-star area.
There was nothing to choose
It
from.
was so ugh. Everything was gray, black, or silver, and they were all like low rent, like Korean SUVs.
And then when you got into like the reserved ones, where like if you call ahead and say I'm willing to spend $1,000 on a rental car, there was like a Porsche Macan and there was an Escalade Navigator, but like they were all white, black, silver.
Honestly, the most exciting thing we saw was a fire engine red Ram V6 quad cab,
But it was beat up from the feet up.
It was beat up. So anyway, there's not a lot of exciting things out there. Even my wife and I are in the process of getting a new vehicle for her. Man, it's been hard. Like we've looked at all sorts of stuff, and it's just like that's a lot. Everything's so expensive. You're just sitting there going, man, that's a lot of money for that. Like I'm gonna go spend a lot of money for a vehicle that I don't really even feel good about. I'm just in it. I mean, that's not everything, but we've been underwhelmed at some of the stuff that we've looked at. We're like, oh, this is supposed to be great, and we're like, I mean, okay.
Oh, but you can't say the same for the truck market. I think there's still a lot of exciting going on.
Bronco Raptor coming on the way. I've got Wrangler 392s. You've got Raptor Rs. You've got Z71s and Bisons. And I mean, there's a lot.
And on the full truck side, we got Ram to look forward to with the new heavy duty, which we don't know what it's going to look like, but we're excited.
So it's just, I don't know if we're truck, market homers. So I guess we probably are, but it's just.
Are we truck sluts?
We're truck sluts. There's so many cars out there that could be cool that aren't. So, hey, Lighting, have you heard?
I can't get through that one. Go ahead.
That's a long one.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. The Nissan Patrol, so we talked about the Armada, is basically the same as the Global Patrol, is going to be a little
Are
bit...
you going to read through your Instagram fight with the guy about the Patrol?
I mean, should I? Do I? I don't know, because...
All right.
I can.
We've talked about this. I had to, because in the last episode, we read an email where the guy's like, stop talking over each other. You're talking over the guests. You keep interrupting. But if I don't interrupt Holman right now, then he'll just gloss over this. So Holman was in an Instagram feud He was going back and forth, and this thing extended through our entire trip to Wisconsin. He was just battling with this guy on Instagram. Every time we went to breakfast, lunch, dinner, he was like, hold on, let me check in with this guy and just bash him some more.
No, that's not what happened. He just kept responding, and I just kept responding back. And the whole thing was, I said that the last Armada was not a patrol. It was a subset of that platform, which is true. There were a bunch of differences, like, the brakes were different, the suspension was different, the rear cross member was different, the options like hydraulic motion control was different, fuel tank was different. All the stuff that was different. You couldn't just take.
And he was just trying to say that
they're exactly the same.
They're all the same, and generally speaking, they're all the same. And you were kind of nitpicking at pieces here. And
well,
pieces
no,
there.
but it wasn't. The difference is the current Armada / Patrol were developed with the U.S. in mind. The old Patrol was never developed with the U.S. in mind. So when they made that the Armada, when they replaced the old Titan F-Alpha platform and they brought it on the Patrol, they had to do a bunch to get it certified for the U.S. market. So there's a lot of little things that make it so you couldn't take that a Patrol, put Armada badges, and it would suddenly be a Armada in the U.S.
That's what he was insinuating, though, right?
Right.
Not even insinuating, just saying.
He's like, they're the exact same car. And I'm like, here's all these differences. They're not the exact. It's a subset of that platform, which Brent even talked to from Nissan, right? Anyway, long story short, he's like, brings up Hellcat, Demon, and a V6 Challenger.
Saying that they were the same.
They're the same car. That has less changes than those two. They're the same. I'm like, you don't think those are the subset of that platform? Because if you pull them apart, there's a lot of differences between those two cars. That is not the same car. They didn't just take the same body shell and just bolt some like high performance stuff. They're, again, the subset of the platform. So he goes, no, if the parts interchange, it's the same car. So then I said to him, if you wore your sister's dress, would you be a girl? And I haven't heard back from him. So I don't know. It's like wants to argue, and I like arguing back. Anyway, so the whole point of this is we get the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 here in the US. Well, guess what? The Patrol has the option of the base 3.8 liter V6 from the Frontier.
Ooh,
that's kind of interesting. So it gets uprated to 316 horsepower and 285 pound-feet of torque. But I think they know that the U.S. market wants the big power, so it's not even an option here. So I just thought it was kind of interesting that the overseas patrols will be getting, and I think there's also going to be more of a base patrol, right, than we get as a base Armada, because it's going to be probably for UN and fleets and working.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, the patrol will be sold in the UAE, Saudi Arabia, anything a part of the GCC countries. It's also going to be patrol in Australia. It's just basically Armada here in the States. So anyway.
I like the fact that we're unique.
Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
No.
So according to GM Authority, GM rival Toyota is scaling back EV output target by 1/3. So following Ford's footsteps of everybody starting to pull back a little bit from forcing EVs down our throats. Lots of cool EVs coming. I think they realize the cars have to be compelling. It can't just be a Camry electric vehicle. There has to be something that makes it interesting. But I think hybrids are starting to come back more into favor as people go, wait, this makes more sense for my life. And, we've talked about it lots on the show. I just thought it's interesting. Seems like these companies, like years ago, 2035, we will never make another ICE vehicle.
Ever,
well,
no matter what.
And they're like, except for a truck, except for the heavy duty, except for this, and then, but the rest of you, right? But I think now people are starting to, or companies are starting to figure out, like, that may not be the way.
Choice. This is the way.
This is the way.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.